Hi there, my name's Kristen. I've recorded this short compliance review for you today. You're seeing this because we did an audit of your website and online presence, and we found some possible HIPAA issues that we thought you might want to be aware of. So during the review, I'm going to point out the most glaring issues. There may be some others, but they all really need to make sure they get discussed with the practice owner. At the end of the review, Bob will give you a short explanation of how you can mitigate any of the issues that we've identified. And I'll point out the HIPAA issues, of course, but I'll also point out any glaring marketing issues if we see some during the audit. You're going to want to carefully consider the findings because those regulatory penalties for HIPAA violations can be so severe, and no one's immune, even though some of the practice owners that we've encountered out there think that maybe they're too small, like the government has bigger fish to fry, but unfortunately this just isn't the case. HIPAA investigations are actually largely initiated due to a breach of protected health information. Clinics and other small practices are increasingly finding themselves prime targets for this due to the relative ease of hacking into their systems, combined with that rapidly rising value of healthcare data over any other consumer data on the dark web. Enforcement is also largely a complaint-driven process, so it could be a patient or a disgruntled employee, or it could even be a competitor, which unfortunately is all too common. And it's not a localized issue anymore because everything we're doing is online now. And submitting a complaint is actually a very simple process that anyone can follow. The Office for Civil Rights has to investigate any complaint that comes in, and they actually have an online complaint portal for this purpose. I'll show it to you here. It's relatively easy to just enter some basic information and a few simple steps, and then the complaint gets submitted. And you can even do it anonymously. I've walked through this myself just to see how difficult it was, and I was personally surprised at how easy it was. So really, you're just one complaint away, even on a good day, and you definitely don't want to make it easy for the investigators by having obvious yet avoidable violations right in the open in your online presence. So we're showing a few highly publicized or pertinent HIPAA violation examples below the video, and you can look at them for yourself. There's thousands of investigations going on at any one time, but right now I just want to get into the review. It shouldn't take more than about 5 minutes of your time. So the first thing that we review is whether or not the site is secure. And you can see looking up at the top left-hand side of the screen here that you have what's called secure socket layer turned on, which is a good thing. And so we're going to call out the good things as well as the things that are concerning. So this is a good thing. We then go in and take a look at the back end of where your site is hosted. And we can see down here that the IP location says you're hosted on a Shopify server, which is a little confusing because Shopify is really more for e-commerce, like products. It's not generally used for this purpose, for this website. And the other thing that's a huge red flag is that you're sharing a space on that server with over 1 million other sites that are hosted on it with you. So the likelihood that it is a compliant server is not even slim to none. There's no possible way that you're on a HIPAA compliant server, which does make you wonder why you would have secure socket layer turned on and have a secure site sending encrypted data to a server that's not compliant. It doesn't make any sense. The next thing that we look at is whether you have any reviews posted and how they've been posted. And again, for this particular site, this is a huge red flag because these reviews have been reposted, which is a direct HIPAA violation. Then we look to see if you have a chat or messaging option of any kind. You're using something called Tidio, which is a non-compliant chat plugin, and they post on their own privacy policy that they are HIPAA compliant. However, if you read through this, and I know that you have some HIPAA understanding because we're both clinical and we've been inundated with this stuff for our entire careers, you're going to see that this doesn't quite line up with the language that needs to be here. And also, I've talked with Tidio, and they don't even know what a business associate agreement is, much less offer to sign one with you. And so there's no possible way that they can be HIPAA compliant. The next thing that we look at is what kinds of options patients have for entering data directly into your site and having it transmitted. So things like scheduling an appointment or contact forms would be what we would look for. Remember, you have SSL turned on, so you're sending the data encrypted, but it's landing on a Shopify server with 1 million other non-medical sites. And so you are directly violating HIPAA by collecting this information because HIPAA covers past, present, and future provision of healthcare services or payment for healthcare services. So any information that they put in the name, phone, and email fields here, which are 3 different types of the 18 types of PHI, is considered protected health information from the moment that they hit send. The next thing I just want to point out to you, this isn't really a HIPAA issue, it's just a marketing issue. I'm not sure who's done your website. There's no indication at the bottom of it like there normally would be if it was done professionally. So it may be something that was done in-house. We see that often. However, there are 3 email symbols on the page here. I'll just kind of call out one of them here. There's only one that actually works. The other 2 are just blanks. They look like they were set up to provide area where you can put in 2 additional locations. However, they don't go anywhere. And so this is just something that really should be cleaned up. Then we look for a privacy policy. There are requirements, as I'm sure you're aware, of what privacy policy language needs to be adhered to from a HIPAA standpoint. This is definitely not it. This is unfortunately a Shopify template for a privacy policy, which means you're not only missing the HIPAA language, but you're also stating things in here that simply aren't true or aren't possible. Or just don't apply. So a lot of the language in a typical Shopify privacy policy is going to talk about things that involve selling products, which is not the purpose of your website. So there's a couple of screenshots here. It looks like at the bottom of it, whoever did this for you did try to put in something related to contact information for a privacy compliance officer. And so that was a good attempt. Unfortunately, again, the privacy policy doesn't meet the privacy rule requirements. Then we go to your Facebook page, and we're going to look for basically 4 things on here. The first obvious violation, and I do mean obvious, it's a violation of HIPAA and it's a violation of Facebook terms of service, is to use Messenger on your medical practice Facebook page. And so it popped right up when I went to the screen. Clearly there is an option for patients, past, present, or future, to communicate with you here. And even if this wasn't popping up, there's a send message button here. So this is direct HIPAA violation because Facebook is a non-compliant application, and they also explicitly call out in their terms of service that you're not allowed to use this piece of Facebook with medical practices, because there's no allowance for communication between a patient and a medical practice. So the concern here is bigger than just HIPAA. If that's possible, I suppose they're both pretty big. Depends on how you look at it. But basically speaking, if you are running ads through your Facebook account or counting on this Facebook account in any way, you're at a huge risk right now for losing this account, because they'll shut you down if you're not following their terms of service. And we've seen this happen. It's very devastating for people who are relying on it in terms of a ROI, return on investment. So if you're getting good use out of Facebook, this is a huge issue. And then we went ahead and talked a little bit with whoever was going to answer us back. And one of the things that is also a direct violation is that besides the fact that we're using Messenger even to communicate at all, I asked if the reviews that were posted on your website are actually all your real patients. And as you can see here, the person responded back that they were, which is a direct violation of HIPAA because it calls out and confirms a patient-provider relationship. This was another example from one of my colleagues who did the same thing. So it's clearly happening, not just more than the one time. Okay, then I went and looked at a couple of Facebook posts, and these were ones that were maybe not direct violations. It's hard to tell just from looking at the post, but definitely red flags, because most of the practice owners that we work with don't understand or comply with the rule in terms of the documentation that would be required to be able to use patients or patient identifiable information in a Facebook post. So this would be something that we would want to talk about and make sure that you had yourself covered on. Same thing with the videos. We see pictures of patients or identifiable patients even in the background on various videos. So same issue. Then we get to another fairly large issue that would definitely need to be addressed pretty quickly. These are actual Facebook reviews that were on your Facebook page. I have 4 of them here, so let me just call out some things that are definitely direct violations. This isn't even a, gee, I wonder if it's a violation. These are actually direct violations. And so the first one being that Melissa Tavernier here gave a review, and somebody from your clinic thanked her and said they were happy to have her and her family as patients, which again is a direct violation because it confirms a patient-provider relationship. So while a patient can post whatever they want, in the eyes of the law, it does not give the practice owner the right to confirm that relationship. It's weird, but it is the law, and so that's something that we call out for people. Then Jasmine, same thing. She called out something really nice about the practice, and then somebody from OC Dental Center thanked her and, glad to hear that you enjoyed your experience with us. So again, confirming the patient relationship. We're seeing this again up here with Andrew, and then again down here with Quinn. So this seems to be a routine thing. It would definitely take some staff training, which is also part of the HIPAA requirements. It's something that needs to be addressed. Then we looked at your ads, and we can see obviously pictures of some happy patients here. Same issue that we would want to discuss with you around having the patient pictures or videos posted on your website or your Facebook page. Using them in the ads would also require appropriate documentation, and that's something that we could talk about. I went ahead and opted into one of the ads so that I could see if there were any glaring marketing issues. And so again, when we get to the ad, we can see that there's, I love how this says actual patient, um, just in case anyone was wondering. So again, same concern, we would want to talk about that. And then as you can see from the bottom of the screenshot, there are reposted reviews, which is a direct violation of HIPAA. And so that's something, again, that we'd want to walk through with you. And then down, further down on that same page, there were some more pictures of happy patients that we just took a screenshot of for the record. Then I got an email because I had opted into the ad. I got an email, and unfortunately, the email service provider that is being used by you or your marketing company is MailChimp. MailChimp does not offer a HIPAA compliant option. So clearly, the communication between you and the patient is calling out the connection between you and the patient simply by having their email address and your email address combined into one communication. That calls out and confirms a patient-provider relationship, and it's being done with a non-compliant email service provider. So that basically concludes the high-level review for today. There's many other things I'm sure we could probably talk about, but we just wanted to give you a general understanding of some of the concerns that you should be aware of. And please note that ignoring these issues for long could easily draw a complaint. You could end up in a situation where you have a breach, and HIPAA fines are substantial. And we just are trying to help practice owners out there find ways to sort of appropriate HIPAA rules into the world of social media marketing and online presence. So I'm going to pass it on to Bob to give you some options.
Now, after watching this, there are 4 options you have. Number 1, you can do nothing. Just ignore what I've shown you and hope for the best. Hope that nobody files a complaint and hope you won't be fined. Option number 2 that you have is to switch off your website, unpublish your Facebook page, and stop using them, and find other techniques to market your business. Also, option number 3 is to take this video that I made to your marketing team and your legal team and have them hash it out for you. Option number 4 is to schedule a call below with us and find out about our integrated solution that actually keeps your marketing working or makes your marketing work better and addresses the HIPAA issues that could affect your practice. Now, we have a slew of integrated offers depending on the budget that you have. Book a call with the button below and get on our calendar. On that call, let's talk about your specific situation for about half an hour. After that half hour, you will have clarity on what to do, what it costs, or if it's worthwhile to have your own marketing and legal team hash it out for you. You should definitely not just ignore it because the fines are substantial, especially when you have marketing out there that primarily broadcasts that you're non-compliant. Well, the likelihood of somebody eventually filing a complaint is high. Now, if you switch off your marketing, of course, you're not going to have many new patients, and you still have the issue that your staff is not educated on HIPAA issues. If you go to your own legal and marketing team, that's probably a viable option because apparently you already have some HIPAA procedures in place. You already have a lawyer that helps you do that. If your lawyer doesn't know anything about marketing, though, you may still face the problem that your marketing stops working. Some myths are portrayed even by lawyers who are not HIPAA experts. So if you do that, make sure your lawyer is up to date with all the new rules that have come out in the past few years. Of course, most marketing companies can't even spell HIPAA. I am biased, of course, but I know that our solution is a solution that addresses all the issues involved. So I would encourage you to book a call as the next step. The call is free if you are committed to solving the problems, including the ones that we have mentioned in this video. Schedule a call by going to the URL on the next screen or by clicking the button on this page.